Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. It is the club call time. It's your opportunity to give us a call. The link is on Toffee TV Premier, so if you want to give us a call about anything, whether it be the draw against Fulham or looking forward to the game against Leicester, or do you want to talk about Duncan Ferguson's comments in relation to Sam Allardyce? Anything you want to do, let us know. Let us
all of that
know.
stuff.
Are you excited for the World Cup? Do you want to talk about that? And if you are excited for the World Cup, who do you represent? Who is your nation? Because while the World Cup's on, it'd be nice to have people who represent the different clubs that can come on and we can have a little chat about it. Because otherwise we'll have nothing to talk
Different
about.
countries. Yeah.
Different nations. Provinces.
Okay.
So, yeah. There you go. So let's get some calls on. The link is at the top. You don't forget, you don't need a phone. You're not phoning us using the internet, so it's all free. So get in touch with us. There you go.
Gareth Hughes says Hardy beat Gary for once. Gaz has gone in. And then said, read a stat at the weekend that must be fake.
Okay.
Apparently, an opposition player has not had a red card against Everton in the Premier League for 101 games.
Sounds about right.
If not fabricated, that is crazy.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right, I'd say.
It's a long time, innit?
It's a long time.
Long time I had an opposition.
No one's fathers.
Nearly 4 years.
No one's fathers.
No. So if that's right, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, then that is bonkers. I can remember like Wilfred Bowley getting sent off for Wolves. I can remember Thingy getting sent off for Southampton, Yoshida near the end of the season. But yeah, they were ages ago. Allardyce was the manager then, I think. So
who was the last player to be sent off against?
It doesn't say. Ghazi was the last player. 101 games though. That is a bit mad that we've not, given we are sent off regularly, we get red cards. What did we have last season? 6 or something. And some were, don't get me wrong, someone like Salomon Rondon's ridiculous red card against Brentford. Things like that.
Slipped over.
You say that?
It just slipped.
Oh yeah, Samuel Thorndale says the last red card against Everton was Kieran Gibbs in the 5-2 West Brom game.
Oh, early on in the COVID season.
Yeah. So we've had, so that was the start of Carlo Ancelotti's only full season in charge. Then we had Benitez. That's not 101 games ago though, is it?
Is it not?
Hang on, 38 last season. No, we've had what this season? So we've had 13, so that's 51. No, it's about 89 or something,
72.
isn't it? Or something.
72, 84.
It's high 80s, isn't it? High 80s, say.
We went quite far in cup competition though that year, so you had them in.
Said 101 Premier League games.
Okay, that's different then.
But there you go. Conor Gray said Newcastle when Iwobi scored. No, that was us getting the red card, wasn't it? Alan got sent off for us.
Alan, yeah.
Scott also said Kieran Gibbs. So thank you, Scott, and thank you to Samuel. Both right on it. Without messing. And yeah. Lou Riddle says evening chaps. Claire Campbell says hello, it's good to be back. Hello Claire, hope you're good. Okay. Sophie says evening lads, I think it's time we sold both Gray and Gordon. I wouldn't even take 50 pence for both.
What I like about Sophie, she doesn't go halfway.
No.
She doesn't go take them out the team.
No.
It's just straight sell them.
And for 50 pence.
Sell them and just bin them. Just bin them. Just find a bin and throw the bin in. Not the way we took our couch and we didn't offer it around to anyone.
It just went in the bin.
Because it had no legs. We just got it and we just threw it in when technically we didn't throw it in the bin as such.
But it's in the bin area, isn't it?
It's in a bin area. And that's very much how she's approached it. That's fair play.
Fair play. The Matty Bush says, hey, hope you're all okay. Saturday's behind us. Got to look forward to an important game against Leicester. Not long till the World Cup, so we need points from each of our remaining games. Saturday was fine. People seem to have a real issue with Saturday. I thought it was a decent point. People obviously didn't. We've got our first caller already, and it is Pat.
Hello.
Hello, Pat.
Hello, Pat.
Pat, I like your idea of Frank Lampard changing his attitudes and his beliefs after getting out of the London bubble. He'll be, when he retires, he'll be forming the new militant council and
That's it.
picketing and on the picket line, and I could just see it now.
Yeah, I
him
fully
and Neville
expect it.
Southall doing, charity work and pro-union stuff. Absolutely,
I can see
all
it,
know
mate.
that's going to be coming.
Honestly, Frank is gonna have a walk-in centre for everyone who needs it. There you go.
Absolutely, free of charge. He'll pay for it himself.
I won't go that far.
Fair play. Fair play.
I won't go that far, but the man is gonna be. Yeah, let's not say any more on that.
So,
Get
come on,
me
Pat.
or anyone else.
Come on,
into trouble.
Pat.
Don't get me or anyone else into trouble.
I am with you, Bads, on this. Saturday wasn't bad. Would we have liked something, especially after how promising we were in the first half? Yes. But a point away, especially, I think people look at teams historically. Yeah, Fulham, when they were in the league, they kind of once snuck into Europe and had a good Europa League run, but otherwise they're kind of people you look at. They're on current form, they're 7th in the table, they score a lot of goals. Unfortunately, they don't have a great defensive record, which we didn't take advantage of. Again, Gray dithering on the ball, Gordon not learning this lesson that Frank and the staff were trying to get him to do against Palace, put in some crosses, get balls in. Even Iwobi looked to be a little bit slow on that, like when he didn't pull the trigger to release Dom, where he was trying to hold his run. And I don't know. Again, I can see why they're disappointed, but again, the clean sheet we had, great defense, throwing your bodies on the line, always closing down shots. I wrote this in one. I think maybe it was one of the post game stuffs, or maybe it was something this week. That what we're doing is we're making sure that all the shots that come in, or the vast majority, are on our terms. Like Mikolenko, I think it was Wilson or it was De Cordova-Reid. He shows him to the only place he can put it because he's blocking off all the other parts of the goal. And so the only shot he has is a curling shot outside of the right post coming in, and Pickford's just there waiting for it.
Yeah.
Because that's the only avenue that we had. And we had Tarkowski doing that. We had Cody doing it. And we had Mikolenko doing it all over the place. And even Ghana and Onana doing that. So I think I love the defense, but I do agree. I wish we were just more clinical. Maybe how many more clinical? And we've seen the same pass. And when Damari Gray actually gets on his horse and decides to put it first time across the box, 2 situations in this game and many times before, and it's been Onana twice too in previous times, where Onana and maybe it was Onana and Gordon, or was it Iwobi and Gordon, will just stand there and watch the ball go through to the other side, or maybe that was a Mikolenko cross, and this has happened several times, and then Dom kicking it off of the side of his shin. Like, those passes we need to be putting into the net, because those are golden opportunities, and we waste them so often.
Yeah. I mean, again, I have said a few times, I think both Gray and Gordon are better if they just simplify the game. I think sometimes with Damari Gray, he'd do really well and put a great ball in, and no one is on the end of it. And it seems like, and I don't know what's in his head, it seems like he gets a cop on that, no one's put it in, and then so doesn't do it again.
Yeah.
And really what he would be better doing is doing that another 2 or 3 times, and then people will gamble on it. Because I think it's like when you're teaching kids to play the games, like, do the right thing, play the right ball.
Yeah.
If you play the right ball, you've done your job. If Damari Gray beats a man and puts it across the 6-yard box, he's done his job. Same with Anthony Gordon on the other side. Beat your man, put it into the danger area, you've done your job. Everyone goes, what a great ball that was. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Iwobi or Onana or Damari Gray on the other side isn't in there to put that in the net, that's their issue, not Anthony Gordon's issue. I think if our 2 wide players did that a little bit more, as well as get more shots away, I think we'd score more goals. And I think it'd be easier to then say to the likes of Alex Iwobi or Onana, when they've got it in wide areas, you have to be in the penalty area. You have to be, or one of you has to be on the edge of the box, and the other one has to get in alongside Tom. More bodies in a box make it more difficult to defend, which means you're going to have the opportunity to score more goals. So that's what I'd be saying to them, is that just simplify your game a little bit more and keep causing issues.
And you both pointed this out in the Palace game, that what that simplification allows you to do is both Gray and Gordon like to cut back inside, even if it's not on their strong foot. But it's so easy to stop that if there's no threat of you running to the byline. They're just going to they're just going to shade you towards the outside and say, fine, go run to the byline. I know you're not going to do it. I know these step overs mean nothing. And the thing that frustrates me so much about Gray is I think his deliveries with his left foot are usually better than the ones on his right foot. I've seen they are put across, and he is so reluctant to do it. But every time he does it, it's a nice driven ball across the box. And yeah, maybe it hasn't been there. But I think also it's that Mopai, Dom, Onana, Iwobi, and Gordon on the other side, he's not going to do it. So what's the point of gambling? I'm just going to be caught, and they're going to counterattack us. And I feel like you're probably right. There is something about that. They are two of the most frustrating players on this team.
I think Anthony Gordon's a younger player, so I give him a pass because he's got to learn that, and he's developed quite well. Is he frustrating? Yes, he is, but he's 21, and it's his second full season. Damari Gray's frustrating because he's got a lot of ability and he's quick and can go by players at times like they're not there, but it is that thing of just put the ball in the box. If you put it in the penalty area, and like you just said, he's thrown some great balls across. I mean, West Ham at home, he puts a great ball in, and I think we're winning at the time. We were either winning 1-0 up, it's just before we scored, and it's gone right the way across, and if anyone's running in, they've got a tap in. Liverpool goes on that great run and puts it back to Maupay, who should score. If he'd done that 4, 5, 6 times a game, Everton would score goals. Man City, I know, higher level of player, I get that. But they do that so often, don't they? You get in the box, it gets rolled across, and someone taps it in at the far post because they've got 5 or 6 players.
It's a pattern of play, though, isn't it? We don't necessarily. It's still really hard to see the patterns of the play at times, and that's something I imagine we're developing. And it is like we started at the back and we're trying to get that in place first. But it is about getting those patterns of play, and they are so inconsistent in the nature of what they do. The deliveries and stuff, and we've said it quite a lot this week. There's times where you just give the ball to Gordon and Gray and you just run away. You don't really see them holding the ball up, letting the full backs join up, give them to the fullbacks, then get it back higher up the pitch. It just feels like they get the ball and run away, and that can be massively frustrating. And I think if you're playing the side, that must be frustrating for you as well, because you're not always sure, like Pat was saying then, when the delivery's going to arrive, where delivery's going to arrive. And that's where we do need one out of 2 at least steady player who complements. If one's going to be a speed merchant, going to just run at people and try and dribble, the other one's got to be, for me, it's got to be a little bit more connected to the team. And I think that's where maybe, I don't know, if you were to say, certainly for away games, you maybe put like a Ghana in midfield, or even a Decore in midfield, and then move Iwobi more to like an inside left channel, and say, right, you're going to link the play up, you're going to help Mykolenko join up, but you also give us that little bit of consistency, because we know if you give you the ball, you're not just going to lose it. And I think that's sort of what we're missing at the moment, I think. And certainly for someone like Mykolenko, I don't think he likes to go forward if he feels like the ball's going to be lost and he can't get back. He doesn't want to be left exposed, and that's definitely a little issue we need to sort out.
Yeah, I guess so. When I started watching Everton too, I think we had Hibbert doing sort of what Mykolenko does now, just flip side, and you had Baines and Pinar obviously on the left side, but Hibbert would stay back before Coleman really broke into the team. I think we need people. We should not be our highest ambition should not be looking for a left-footed Hibbert.
No. Well, we've already got one of them, I think. I think Mykolenko's sort of already there anyway. That's what he strikes me as. I think he can get forward. I just don't think he wants to get forward because he is worried. And that's something that we might need to deal with in the future. But I think ahead of him at the moment, that's certainly an area we need to get better at, because I think that's fine when you're playing at home. I think you can afford to have two wide men who are very unpredictable. I just think away from home, you need to control the game a little bit better. You need to hold onto the ball and use it on Saturday. That's where we fell down in the second half. Gave the ball away so cheaply, and before you knew it, Fulham were turning us round, and then that puts the defensive pressure. So home games, yeah, I don't mind home games as much, but certainly those away games, we need to come up with something a little bit better.
We need to, sort of my last thought is, we need to find a balance between actually making forward passes and not just do the thing we did under Martinez, which was back pass, side pass, back pass, side pass, back pass, side pass, but also be patient enough when it's not working to at least realize, yeah, we might have to play it around in defense. I felt like that's what we did against Palace when we broke them. We were willing to play it around defense and not try to push or just say, all right, whatever, I'm going to hoof it up to Dom, I'm going to hoof it up to Onana. Like, there needs to be a little bit of balance in that. We're willing to play in between defenders and our six and the fullbacks if it has to. It's okay to play it back sometimes. It just can't be all the time. We were patient and good against Palace even when they were trying to press us, and we broke their press. It was a good possession. But we need a balance there. We can't just be that, and it can't just be long balls, because we've seen that. We just give them the ball and they come right back at us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree, Pat.
Pat, spot on as ever, mate. Thank you for giving us a call.
Of course.
Cheers. Thanks,
cheers,
mate.
Pat. Take care, mate. Bye.
Big thanks to Pat there, calling us. Get your call in.
Get your call in, yeah. Justin Rainford says, good afternoon, lads.
Hello.
Booens says 6 points would be nice from the next two, but I'd take 4. Asherman Singh says, "What's up with Gordon, dude? He seems a lost boy in the woods." No, I think he's just a little bit. He's hit and miss, isn't he? Because he's a young player. You know, that's why I keep saying I'd like him to simplify his game, because I think we get more out of him. I think it'd be easier for him. I'm not saying every single time do the same thing, but work on 5 or 6 crosses at least a game. Put them into the right areas. It's what Trent Alexander-Arnold does and gets lauded for. He just puts it into an area. Liverpool players know to run in there. We've seen other clubs do exactly the same. Luca Dean should do it for us. He just put it in an area and we got in there, and that's why he was so dangerous. The Blues says, "How do fellas? Hypothetical scenario, but could you imagine how different these last few years would have been if we'd signed Sangari and Tarkovsky instead of Gabamon and Keane?" Yeah. There you go. The Blue says, "I know everyone gets annoyed that Gray is a key player for us, but he's only had 5 less chances created than Iwobi, who's been unreal this season." This is what we're saying, isn't it? This is what we're saying. Imagine if he did. I know you've said he averages 6 crosses a game. I've seen that. It's how many he connects with, but if he done 5 first half, 5 second half. I remember Joe Royal saying this years ago to like his wife. I'm saying it to Limpar and to Kanchelskis when he first came in, because he'd already had, for all you nippers out there who don't remember, well, like when he was at Oldham, he had 2 wide. He had Neil Adams on one side and he had
Rick Holden.
He had Rick Holden on the other, didn't he? And Rick Holden wasn't a very good footballer. He had a nice left foot. He was very basic. But what he did, he just got half a yard and crossed it. And the amount of goals Oldham scored from just that outlet of just getting a little bit of space and putting it in a zone for people to attack was incredible. And you've seen that through the years, but that's never really gone anywhere. David Beckham, fantastic delivery of the ball, but he didn't have pace to burn. Beckham didn't have a trick really. His trick was create himself a little bit of space and put a cross into the penalty area. And I know football has slightly changed, but we've got a target man. We've got a lad who's tremendous in the air. So put balls into where he can get at it. If you play him at Maupai, then the crosses have to be lower, of course they do, for him to get on the end of. But Dom's there. Just simplify your game. Get past your fullback and put it in. Imagine Saturday we kick off and they run it. Gordon and Gray are running it there to fullback straight away. The crowd are up like the Palace game. Put balls into box. Get them defending. They're already conceded a lot of goals. Don't like defending. They're nowhere near as stable and defensive as what they have been over the last few years. So, that's what we have to do for me. And I think if Anthony Gordon does simplify that a little bit, I think he'll get better and better. Same with Damari Gray. The Blue says Trent is always unmarked though, Baz. Wingers don't often get... Yeah, but if he keeps hold of the ball, then it enables our fullbacks to go past him, doesn't it? Our fullbacks don't go past him. The amount of times Anthony Gordon, seen on Saturday with Robinson, he had a chance to face him up 1v1. Just take a little touch and throw it in. You don't have to outpace him. You don't have to do all kinds of tricks. Just get yourself that little bit of space to put the ball across. He hits a really good ball in, Gordon. When he throws it in with his right foot, he really does. And on Saturday, he'll have Nathan Patterson back, who you would expect will overlap. You know, Damari Gray should use Mikalenko a little bit more, either as a decoy run or slide him in. I don't understand when you're playing, particularly as a right-footed left winger, why you get the ball, you check, you go to cross it, you come back on your right foot, you don't put the cross in, you hesitate, and then you try to do the whole movement again. If what you're doing is working it onto your right foot, then work it onto your right foot to either get a shot away or throw the angle crossing. Because you've got a centre forward in the middle, go and do a stick or do a twist. What do we do? More often than not, it allows the defending team to get behind the ball, and then already you're outnumbered. So, for me, I'd just simplify the game.
Right, we've got Chris on the line. Chris, are you there?
Yeah, I am indeed. How are you guys doing?
All right,
You
mate,
alright?
you okay?
Hello, Chris.
Yeah, not too bad, not too
Good,
bad. It's
good.
actually the first time in like 3 or 4 weeks I can actually do one of these. Because work is my usual complaint and excuse of work
Yeah,
getting in the way.
that's everybody.
Well, it happens, mate. It happens. We know it.
Yeah,
We know
it's the
it.
same excuse why I couldn't go to the Patreon night.
Yeah.
unfortunately. Well, member Premier.
Premier,
Tell
yeah,
us,
you know,
I
you
mean,
are a Premier member.
Today
we
it's a
know
good excuse. No, for
Yeah.
that it's not.
that.
Absolutely. But I didn't really have much to say, to be honest. It was just kind of just thinking about it over the last like month or so. It was kind of compared to the last couple of seasons where it doesn't feel. It felt like for a long time it just felt like there was like no plan as to what was going on. Whereas now it actually feels like there is a plan. There is an idea of something that we're building towards, and we can actually like see that like happen on the pitch as well. So even though there are like there's still issues, like the defense is like solid, like Taki and Cody, like we all love those guys, they're just amazing. The midfield, we can see like even that's developing over time, like going from the 4-3-3 to more of like a 4-2-3-1, putting Alex more forward closer to Dom. It's just like natural changes over time, which have been really positive. It's just it is just a case of like sorting out what we're doing attacking wise, and hopefully we can get 1 or 2 in the January transfer window. I'm not sure who it is that the club are looking at, but I think it's even with our like losses as well. Like if you look at the teams we lost to. Okay, Villa was a bad one, but we lost to Manchester United, we lost to Chelsea, we lost to Newcastle, which are now currently 4th, and we also lost to Spurs, yes, and it was away from home. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the losses that we've had, they're sort of they're kind of expected losses, and the wins, and like we've got some points away from home, which last season we would have dropped. Like if it was against Fulham, we probably would have lost that game if it was this team under last season. So it's actually nice to just be an Evertonian this year, and the losses don't just feel devastating. You can kind of rationalize it. And then you can just kind of at least see the project of like what Frank is building towards, I guess.
Yeah, there definitely seems to be a line of sight where they want to go. I think we all know we're not stupid. We all know that this team doesn't have enough goals in it, and we addressed the defence in the summer. And obviously having Nathan Patterson, who came in January, developing, was a huge thing for us. I think Mikalenko's getting better each week. Defensively, yeah, can he be better going forward? Absolutely. Will we have to look at someone to press him a little bit more, as in his position? Yes, we will. I think he's doing fine at the moment. We've got Ben Godfrey to return from injury. Holgate's on the bench. So I think defensively, I think we're fine. I think midfield, we've got 6 good options in there right now. Yeah. But further forward than that, that's where, because that's the business end of the team. If we had 2 midfielders who got half a dozen goals, we've just done a match preview, and James Maddison from Leicester at the weekend's got 6 goals already. Our top scorer is Anthony Gordon with 3. So if we had the midfield players that score goals, then maybe we could carry what we have in the final third. But all of our emphasis now is on Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring goals. Because I know it sounds mad because I've just said Anthony Gordon's our top scorer, but 3 goals isn't loads. No. Damari Gray's got 1, and Dom's got 1. So the front 3 have got 5 between them, which isn't as many as what James Maddison's got on his own. So there lies the issue. But we can all see that, and I'm quite sure Frank Lampard and I'm quite sure Kevin Thelwell can see that. And the key now, and the challenge now is, can we go and get players in January who can add to the area of scoring goals? And if we can, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. There's also as well, I think I mentioned it before, where I think you've mentioned it as well, Baz, where we've spoken about like the team potentially going to like a diamonds like formation, so we can get more of the midfielders in on the pitch as well. Because if you put in someone like Decore, he used to score quite a few goals for us in the midfield, and like you said, he used to score quite a lot of those for Watford. So in that situation, granted, it puts more pressure on Nathan Patterson and Vitaly Mikalenko, but I think because those two are quite young players anyway, so you've got players there who will have the stamina to run up and down the pitch for you, and then you've also got, it then gives you like an extra man in midfield, and then you could maybe rotate who the split striker is with Dom, maybe something like that, and then that gives you like a different threat as well. I don't know how that would work, obviously, because diamonds traditionally, from what I've seen, are very tricky to play, especially in this league, because if you get it wrong, it can go wrong very quickly, because all your width is almost like reliant on your fullbacks. But it could be something that we see Frank experiment with as well. I mean, I think he played it with Derby a bit quite as well, actually.
I think I don't know that it needs to be a diamond as such, but there's certainly a way that he might have to look at trying to change it a little bit away from home. We've played what we've played the last 3 away games. We've not scored a goal, so maybe just mixing it a little bit, and putting, maybe taking one of the wingers out and then the other one does float behind Dom, and maybe throwing James Garner in there or Adelaide Decore. He might look at something like that just to try to get us on the ball a little bit more, to try to create slightly differently than the way we're playing. But I don't know.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I think for a while we've had that many different players, Chris, over the last few years, and we've never had consistency. I mean, the idea of having a centre-back partnership in the last couple of years is mind-blowing, isn't it? The amount of centre-backs we've gone through. And then you're not used to then almost building it. We had this discussion yesterday, didn't we, on the Tuesday topic on Premier, was, do we allow him to, I mean, I say do we allow him, but you know what I mean? It's like, are we sitting here going, you know what, this 11 or 12, 13 players, let's just let them grow and hopefully get better with time? Or do we start mixing it up? Do we start changing the team for away games? Do we start changing the formation? And it's such a novelty, I think, to have a set of players that play nearly every single week. I mean, the last few weeks, we've had at least 9 players, haven't we? Gordon obviously was out suspended. But, and then James Coleman's come in for Patterson, and Patterson will come back. But generally, it's been the same 9 players. That, for us, is absolutely humongous for what we've been through in the last few years. And a lot of those players are his players as well. Either he bought them, or they sort of have been under his tutelage, have come rebirth, whether it be Iwobi or obviously Mikalenko and Patterson, where he didn't buy them, but he's very much their manager. And it is that interesting conundrum, is like, what do you do? And this is where I think we do need almost a team to play at home, and then to be just a slight differentiation in that for away games, just because I think when we play away, we are too quick to give the ball away, and I think we do need maybe something a little bit different. We can hold on to the ball a little bit better and then build the play up, because I think that's what let us down on certainly in the second half on Saturday, was you're too eager to get going. You lose the ball next minute, Fulham are trying to get coming back at you the other way. So it's just, I mean, let's just get through the next couple of games. It'd be fantastic if they were unbeaten, and then the manager gets 5 weeks with them, and he goes to Australia with them, and he gets to really sort of work with what he's got and try and get the best. And then you've got 2 games, and then the window's open. And if they have had plans, if they have been looking, let's hopefully try and nail those people down quite quickly. Whoever it is, I don't know who we're going to be looking at, but obviously the fantasy ones are Kudus, who again scored last night. Mudryk, I mean, we'd all love him. I mean, but his price and everything about him's gone through the roof. But let's hope there's someone underneath that. Let's hope there's players that we haven't been talking about, but Everton have identified very much in the the Onana sort of way of things, where Everton have gone, we want a bit of that, and no one else is really talking about it. So, yeah. But apart from that, I think most things are quite positive. And we're all quite positive. I think we're all looking at it like we're going the right way, and hopefully we do.
Yeah. I think it also takes the pressure off Gordon as well, because like he is a young lad, and he went to take the number 10, but ultimately that puts a lot of pressure on someone who's quite young at the moment anyway. So if he's starting every week and there's been all this attention that's surrounded him, if you've got a situation where he's having to maybe compete for the spot a little bit more, maybe that'll just reignite something in terms of, like, it's not to say that he's a lazy player, because from what I've seen, of course he isn't. No, but like maybe just giving him like some competition for that spot would take some of the pressure off of his shoulders as well. Yeah. Because obviously the club gave him the 10. They, like, in the promo materials, like for YouTube, like for the goal, they call him like the star boy and all this stuff. So exactly. So the club also has to take some responsibility.
Yeah, they are heaping really, really unnecessary pressure on him. But he's brought that on himself, whether he likes that or not. He's sort of brought that on himself a little bit. He's took the number 10 shirt. He's gone full Claire Balding with the hair coming back from the summer. He's got all the star boy stuff. And that's fine. That's just football in general. There's no problem with that. We've been crying out for that sort of poster boy for a long time. Really, it should be Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But obviously with his injuries. But we've heaped that pressure on him, and he heaps on himself. And that's not the problem. But you are absolutely right. If we had another player and he didn't play every week, and he had to sort of look at his position and go, I'm going to have to fight for this, because I don't think he really does at the moment. And I'm not saying that consciously brings, saying lazy be the wrong word, but just I think if he had to fight with someone, because I tell you what, if he'd gone to Chelsea, my God, he would have had to fight for that shirt. And so definitely. It should be the same at Everton. Everton should be exactly the same. They should be with him and going, do you know what, you're a wide player, we know you're going to have your ups and downs, you're a young lad, and we're bringing in this lad, and this lad every day in training will show you what it's all about, and you've got to get to that level, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's exactly what it should be. Look at Mopai, right? Mopai comes in, he knows he's got Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming back from injury. Yep. Mopai's now sitting on the bench, but he'll be looking at it going, what do I have to do to get back into this side? How do I have to be better? What do I have to adjust my position to maybe play off Dominic Calvert-Lewin? As a footballer, you work, we say this all the time, 5 days a week you work, and you don't play a game of football. We think they just, we think, because this is what we did. You go to training, it's a knockabout with your mates. It's not, it's hard work. And some days they'll say to you, today it's match standard today. And they have to play like they're playing in a match. And they're not up to it. The manager will go, I know you played at the weekend, but that was dreadful. I'm bringing in Tom Davis, or I'm bringing Decore in. That's why I think the midfield, now you can see the level in midfield. Those midfielders, those 3, should be terrified, because James Garner, Decore, and Tom Davis, and I can hear you sniggering at the back, but that's fine. But if Tom Davis is bringing it every single day to training and going saying to Garner or whoever, I'm pushing you for your spot, then that's massively important. Who's pushing Anthony Gordon for his spot? Well, if we get a new player in and we bring him in, this new shiny winger, then suddenly Anthony Gordon has to go up another level. He's forced to go up another level, by the way. And I think that's why it is important we bring in another player to play wide.
Because you can see, like you said, with our midfield, with the midfield in particular, it's really strong right now, just because you have those options. Like Tom, I've always rated Tom anyway. I think he's a great player. I really don't understand why he's had a few mistakes here and there, but he's been great. He's been actually really good for us this season. Like Decore again, he's still a great midfielder. Like even when we sold Alan, like Alan was still a good midfielder for us all in all. So we've got the competition there, and hopefully we can work on in January to see if we can get someone who competes in that sense as well. So that it gives the manager a good problem to have.
Yeah.
I'll probably sign off now just because there's probably 1 or 2 people waiting.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chris, for someone who had nothing to say, you've done well, mate.
You've done well there, mate.
Thank you. I'll actually be at the match as well on Saturday. I was actually able to get a ticket for once.
Good man.
It is right.
Yeah.
Nice one, Chris.
Absolutely.
Nice one
No
for
worries,
coming on,
guys.
mate.
Cheers,
See you,
Chris.
mate.
Thank you.
See you later. Ta-ra, mate.
Ta-ra, mate.
Thank you.
Ta-ra.
Cheers, mate.
There you go. Good call from
Was
Chris.
a good call. It really was a good call. Bait Toffee says anyone thinking a point away at Fulham is bad is living in a dream world. Okay.
What would this dream world consist of? What kind of dreams do you have, Baz, that you would like to live in?
Where Everton win a lot, score a lot of goals.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say something about Instagram.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm just looking.
Sorry,
at
lost track.
No, I'm just reading it. Some of these just fly, you see. Yeah, just hang on a sec, Ned. Come on.
What's Ned
Can't
doing
just
here?
be one
Hey,
call
Ned,
after
hang
the
on,
next.
mate.
Olive Grove Estate says hello from sunny Spain.
Is that
Hello.
a person or is that the literal
Don't know,
like community?
the Olive.
gate. It
the-
sounds like a gated community.
The Olive Grove Estate are just saying hello. Johnny Hickey says, sorry if this was covered earlier, but why is offside in the Champions League taking so long? Now they've introduced a new technology.
To be honest, it isn't. It isn't taking so long, right? And I haven't seen this one, but I know what you're referencing. So Spurs last week, because again, Spurs, the Champions League, they've brought the new system and it's going to be in the World Cup, so everyone's going to get a good look at it. So Spurs last week, the goal they had this lad in the last minute, the reason that took so long was it hit the player and the humans had to determine whether it was a deliberate contact, and if it was deliberate, Harry Kane would have been onside. And because they determined it wasn't deliberate, Harry Kane was offside, which made for a very exciting... Did you see the chart, by the way, of there's a chart of the positions during the night?
Oh, no.
Oh, it was unbelievable, because at one point, Sporting Lisbon were top and they finished bottom.
Yeah,
It was a mad night. And in fact, Marseille were third in the last minute. They were third. They were going to get... Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, 'cause it wasn't... Thingo went third, sorry. Marseille were third and ended up finishing fourth because Spurs scored the goal.
Scored, yeah.
But it was almost like they didn't know. So it was like if someone had told them, hang on for a point and you'll get Europa, then maybe there would have been a little bit more. But the whole night... But the one in the Liverpool game last night, I'll be honest, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the Liverpool one from last night. Apparently the person was offside, but apparently it took so long it went to the humans, and I don't know why. They need to, if it ever goes to the humans, I think they should come out and explain why. But I've not really seen anything from last night on the Champions League. Certainly not them anyway, because why would you? But that's the reason. It's only part robot. It's like got the Murphy side from RoboCop as well, who's got feelings.
Okay.
There you go. Right, we got Degsy. Let's get Degsy on. Degsy, go on, mate. Go on, mate.
Hi, lads.
You're right.
How's it going?
Yeah, okay.
Just apologies, I haven't been as visible on your show for a while,
but don't be worrying.
Moving care homes,
Oh, well, as you do.
Yeah.
As you do.
Anyway, I'm getting a bit fed up with all the introduction of the technology. I've got to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. They say that.
Oh, he's gone. I was about to make it a great point. The new care home obviously does not have the internet as well as the old one.
I'm sure he'll come back.
He'll come back because it's classic Degsy.
He'll be back.
He's probably just pressed the button.
Yeah, he'll be back. Lou Riddle says Dunk's comments intrigued me, to be honest. You think Allardyce was the last manager that really backed him?
Yeah.
Would maybe explain.
100%. Yes. Apart from Carlo.
Carlo did, though.
I think if Carlo had stuck around, I think Dunk would have been would have got a little bit more closer to his dream of taking over as the manager, maybe after a couple of years or 3 years or something.
Yeah, maybe. There you go.
But Dunk wanted the job in January, didn't he? And he never got it. And
that's what he made his mind up,
that's
didn't
probably what's made his mind up, because the people at the club.
There we go.
Degsy's back. Degsy's back.
I'm back.
He's
I
back.
don't know what happened there, mate.
It's all right. Go on.
I'm on an iPad and it just went.
Go on,
Degs.
Go. Pay the bill.
I'm just getting fed up with all this introduction of into the human game.
Okay.
The physical game of football.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, I come in on a coach from Southport, and you used to go home, and everybody be arguing about stuff, decisions and everything. But now you go home, and it's just you just whinge about decisions.
Isn't that just the same thing?
No, it isn't, because you want that, was it or wasn't it?
Okay.
Do you understand what the difference I'm talking about?
No, I honestly, Degs, just go on. Give me a bit more context, because for me, this is the way I look at VAR, right? VAR is just another referee to get it wrong. Go on.
Yeah, it's just clinical, though, isn't it? It's you're told that this is the right decision now.
Okay, well,
and there was nothing better than going back to the pub.
Yeah.
And everybody just chatting about, this and that.
Well, let me just ask you this question, Degs, right? Let me just ask you this question.
Yeah.
Right, so this new offside thing that's coming, right? Not the one we've got right now in the Premier League, but the one that's going to be in the World Cup, right? So, I've seen people moaning about that, right? Because people have been offside by like a toenail, right? But it's 100% correct. It's not someone drawing the line. It's not we don't know when the ball has left the fella's foot and all this kind of thing. And I've seen people moaning about it, going, how can he be offside? He's like, he's a toenail offside. If you're offside, you're offside, aren't you, surely? And if you have, it's the same when the ball goes over the line. If the ball goes over the line, it's over the line, isn't it? It's not, it was only a tiny bit over the line.
No, that's the best bit of technology. Yeah. That is a good bit of technology. Yeah. But when we're going back a bit now, and I don't know when Baz played, as a game.
I don't think it was the same time as you, Degs.
No, no, but what I mean is that, like, offside used to be when there was a clear gap between the striker and the defender.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're only a toenail, what advantage have you gained? If you're a heel, what advantage have you gained?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? You gained no advantage.
No, I do, Degs. I do, Degs. But what I would say is, right?
Yeah.
And I'll ask you the question. Where does that stop?
No, well, that's why I think that the old rule of a clear gap between the last defender and the striker is offside.
So
when there's a visibility gap between the two, that's offside.
Okay. So is it the rule and not the technology then?
I think so.
So it's the rule that needs to be, because we've had this. Me and Baz have had this. It is often the rule and not the technology. That's the problem. It's the handball is exactly the same, isn't it? The offside rule is exactly the same. It's not when we see all these decisions every week and people are moaning VAR. For me, it is the rule. It's the handball rule. It's the offside rule. It's where did he kick him? The one we had on the weekend. What big problem is there's far too much interpretation for a referee to say, well, I thought it was handball because of this, or I thought that was a sending off because of that. Yeah. I think it's often the rules, and because the VAR now is giving you 2 or 3, giving the ref a couple of chances to see it, we're looking at it now going, well, how can that be? But I often think it's the rule and not VAR.
Yeah. You're probably right. It's probably.
But you are right. You are right. I do.
But what I just can't believe that they think the striker is getting an advantage by being, say, a boot further on than the defender.
Well, okay, I was a striker and I'd have loved to be in a boot further on, because you know that you're going one way and he's coming the other quite often, isn't it? That was what. The whole idea. Go on.
They introduced the offside in the first place was to try to produce more goals and to stop the goal hanger.
Yeah.
Stop the goal hanger, wasn't it, essentially?
Yeah, it was to stop the goal hanger. But, the offside rule was it had to be a goal that you had to be beyond the last defender. Or should I say, but the last defender and just the goalie and you were offside.
Yeah.
And that's a clearer thing to see, isn't it? Surely,
I know. I get what you're saying.
If you're a body length in front of the last defender, you've got an advantage.
I do agree with you, because I do think the offside law's gone too far.
Yeah.
The old offside rule I hated. The idea that you could be offside by being on like the other side of the pitch when like the ball was played if you were a winger on one side and the guy on the other side. That was nonsense. But I think it started to go too far when things like players could walk back from being offside and never really get onside. But with those kind of things.
Yeah.
What I do,
that. Go on. Like what you've just introduced, that argument, I get it. But you can. The defender on the far side of the pitch can actually be cleared as playing the game onside, although he's not taking part in the game either.
Oh yeah. It's all about interpretation, isn't it? I think when the World Cup comes, I think we're going to see a better demonstration of this new offside rule, and hopefully, this new offside technology, and hopefully, it settles down for probably next season when we get it, and everyone then, Degs, hopefully will go, because I think again it comes back to inconsistency. What is offside? What isn't offside? And I think if we can get that line, so it's like goal line technology, and no one can ever say. Because I do understand what you're saying. How can you be offside if you're by a toenail? But then the problem is then it'll be a boot, and then it'll be daylight, and then how much advantage are you given? And I understand that it does come down to the absolute finest of margins. Then, but at least if we have technology that actually works and works properly, and someone isn't drawing on lines, that you are gonna get. It's gonna be you're going to get someone get against, aren't you? But ultimately, if you're offside, you're offside. And that's the way, I think that's the way the game needs to be, so that we all trust the system, if that makes sense. Because I think at the moment, I don't trust the lines. I mean, we've seen against Leeds, the goal we scored, they couldn't decide, so they said, oh, well, it's down to the linesman. Well, we've seen against Crystal Palace how good the linesmen are. I mean, Anthony Gordon's a foot onside, 2 feet onside, and he puts his flag up. I mean, that just shows how bad the linesmen are. So, I think we're in a bit of a mess at the moment, and I think it needs to be sorted out very quickly, and we'll find out soon. But yeah, to me, a lot of the time, Degs, it does come down to the rules rather than the VAR, because ultimately VAR is such a tool, isn't it? And the fella who's using it is also a tool. So, But we'll see. We'll see what it's like in the World Cup.
I wonder what the football's going to be like in the World Cup. Just going off on a tangent as well, because let's face it, what they're going, the actual. The weather and everything that they're going to play this World Cup in is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's the silliest idea I've ever known. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we were saying this. We were talking about this a couple of days ago.
We might as well send the walking footballers. But
we don't know, do we? This is the thing, though, isn't it? Because the stadiums are supposed to be air conditioned, but we don't know because we've actually not seen. Because normally the year before we see the stadiums being tested out and stuff, but we've seen nothing. I sent.
Because they're not finished yet. That's
no.
But
before I sent Baz I sent him a map of the stadiums, and like there's a train line between the stadiums. There's a metro stop. They built a metro as well, and
I think the furthest you've got to go from one stadium to another is 30 miles. Isn't it?
Yeah. So, but it only takes for every single stadium in the World Cup. It takes 2.5 hours to get from the first to the very last, and that shows you how close they are. So it's gonna be a mad tournament. It's gonna be absolutely mad.
I've got to be honest. This is the first World Cup since I've been watching. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I'm not really interested in.
What was your first World Cup, Degs? Let me ask you that.
66.
And how old were you?
7.
And was it amazing?
It was in black and white, and we had a telly.
Oh, you were posh.
So no, we weren't posh. It was just that during those days you rented your telly, you didn't own one.
Did the fella come every Friday and knock on the door and take the money? Yeah,
and then you went down the Granada shop to pay your weekly bill. But well, the good thing about it then was every 12 months you got a new telly.
Boss.
Do you know what I mean?
So when you were 7, you got to see Everton win the cup final, and then 2 months later, you got to watch England win the World Cup.
Yeah, but I also saw Ray Wilson and Roger Hunt parade the two cups derby, around Goodison in the derby.
That's amazing.
The halcyon days.
What a time! Yeah. What a time! Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
And to see Pele and Eusebio.
Stop it now! Come on, stop it now!
Yeah, and those little North Koreans running around Goodison Park, battering battering
Portugal, Italy,
Portugal, and then Eusebio comes out and says, "I'm not having this, lads," and he went and scored 4 goals.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was mad.
The only thing is, though, you had to eat spam. So that's the flip side of it, isn't it?
Yeah, bacon. We had bacon grill. We couldn't even afford spam.
Oh, see, I mean, that's because you spent all your money on a telly.
Kept getting the telly every 12 months.
Yeah. Minding cars. That's what it was down to. Minding cars.
Amazing.
Yeah. Do you know? I remember the actual. Do you know our mascot, World Cup Willie?
World Cup Willie, yeah. World Cup Willie, and also.
Can I remember the song? I don't know.
Yeah. And Pickles the dog finding the trophy after it being robbed.
Finding it. Oh yeah.
Great.
Well,
times.
I think that was a publicity stunt. I got to be honest.
There you go. Well, fair play to Pickles anyway. You know what I mean?
Pickles didn't know that, did he?
Jules Rimet is still gleaming.
He is still gleaming from Pickles.
That was a well better World Cup, by the way, wasn't it? That trophy
was
well better.
Oh, I loved it.
It was a better trophy.
I think it's a better trophy personally, but there
is
you
it
go.
a new one now? Brazil's won it.
No, they're keeping the same one now, aren't they? Yeah.
But is it the same design? But Brazil get to keep the old one.
I don't know. Why would they get to keep the old one?
Because they won it 3 times.
Yeah, but they all won it 3 times, but they haven't won it 3 times since. They won it 3 times, have they?
No, what I mean is when they won the World Cup 3 times.
They got to keep
But that was the new design, wasn't it?
No, they got the Jules Rimet. They got to keep that, but they haven't won the new one 3 times, have they?
Oh, okay.
They've only won it twice, haven't they? Hang on.
Yeah. You still like to watch them, though,
70. The 70 was their third one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they've only won it 2002 and 94 since. So
I'll miss the Italians kicking shit out of people. Do you know what I mean?
Let's not stereotype. Let's not stereotype here, mate. Come on.
Well, is Uruguay there?
Uruguay's there because they've got Andy Carroll playing up front for them, haven't they? So
Uruguay and Argentina in '66, they lumped England from the left side to the right side.
That was the famous one when they
walked off.
Sir Alf Ramsey dragged them off, didn't he? With what was it called? The Battle of. What was it called?
Well, it was nicknamed the Battle of River Plate again, wasn't it? That's what they called it.
There you go.
But
Degsy, we should just do a show where we go through all your memories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my head's full of so much shit. It's unbelievable, guys. You don't want to go there.
It's all right. So's Ned's, and we have to put up with him.
So. Yeah. Anyway, just a quick call today.
Cheers. Just a quick call where we literally went through the history of football. Thanks.
Yeah, we've just gone through the whole history of the World Cup, but there we go. Eh?
Thanks,
1970 was the best World Cup and still is, by the way.
Fair play to you, mate. Fair play. Rub it in, Degs, because you're older than us. Thanks, Degs. See you later, Degs. Nice one, mate.
Cheers, Degs.
Cheers, guys.
See you, mate.
Hey, I'm waving. I can't see you.
What a great call.
Mate.
What a great call.
I'm waving and I can't see you. Fair enough,
What a
mate.
great call. There you go. Degs, you got to unbelievable times.
Fair play to
And you
Degs.
telly every year. Do you think they went when they went to telly? We're like, Dad, can we get a 12-inch telly? Oh,
amazing.
And the back of it was about 3 streets away.
Fair play. It's all good.
James says Canada is a legit dark horse. It's not a legit. Canada are going to get battered every game. Mark my words. No, they are, man. They are. They're in turmoil as well. They're having murder. They haven't even got a brand new kit. Nike wouldn't even make them a kit. So Adidas has brought out a range based on the 86 kit the last time they were at a World Cup, right? And all the players are doing the advertising for Adidas because they're all so annoyed with Nike not making them a new kit. They're the only team with the World Cup not with a new kit. Absolute mess, right? That's not their fault, that's Nike's fault, by the way. So Alphonso Davies has come out and said Nike are not to use any pictures and wearing the kit to sell the kits. That's outrageous, that, isn't it? All the stuff that comes out for the World Cup and Canada can't even get a new kit. And they will be battered every game, by the way.
Little T says Degs is just showing off now. Yeah, he definitely was. Mark McDonough said, I still pay monthly for my mum's telly. She gets a new one every year. Was Granada, but now it's something else.
Do you know when DVD started, when really first come out, I couldn't really afford one, so I rented one, and I rented it for about 14 years. Just kept on paying. No, you just do that thing of keep paying and keep paying. In the end, that DVD by the end you could buy them for £7 in the Middle Island, Little, and I'd probably pay about £8
still
for
paying
mine.
Still paying it. Little T says Canada to the semis.
Fair play. Put money on it.
Qatar v Iran final. Charlie Chaplin says.
I mean, that would go off, wouldn't it?
That's been mad. Mathew Barry says about obviously Kieran Gibbs. Matthew's in
You still in Florida?
Florida at the moment.
Getting fleeced.
It's very expensive at the minute. Josh Foy says, hello lads, hope you're good. Hope we sweep past Leicester. I'm off to the Dominican next week and can't wait. First sunny vacation since before COVID. Have a lovely time, Josh.
Fair enough. Right, we've got Astro on the line. Just to spice it up a little bit more.
Full.
Oh, Astro!
Something like that. And then went.
He sprinkled the magic on.
Bay. He'll be back. He's just down the bay. Gareth Hughes says, also noticed Thelwell getting off the team bus before matches. Is that a bit strange that they're off to be on the team bus? Thought he'd kept more of a distance.
Just doesn't want to bring his car to the stadium.
Saving
fuel. It's an expensive
being responsible.
Astro, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, mate.
Yeah, we've got him.
Gotcha.
We've got him back.
Yeah, mate. The pitfalls of technology in middle Georgia, I'm telling you. It's crazy. No. I just want to say, like, I only caught the tail end of Degsy, and I got to hear Pat's call as well. You guys have had a great show today, and now I get to roll in and ruin it for everybody.
Yeah, with your frogs. You sound like you're on helium, and also there's like frogs in the background. It's an amazing call.
But it's fine.
So far, we're
keep
loving
going.
it. We're
keep
loving
going,
it.
big man.
Go on.
But you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely broke. Yeah, it's definitely broke. I mean, what a way to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and he goes off straight away.
James Barra says the shoe Wi-Fi, bro.
No, boom.
Boom.
It's not the. I'm gonna say it's not the technology that's the issue. It's the Wi-Fi.
Claire Campbell's going with Argentina for the World Cup. I think for Messi to have a stormer.
I think this is the most open World Cup for years, especially with France having so many injuries as well.
Yeah.
Pogba's out, Kante's out. That's their midfield from the last one. I think it's going to be a belter, and we've been talking about, hasn't we? The idea of Neymar, and Messi being in such good form at the same time in the middle of a season is just. This could be
without the players,
because people keep on, it's terrible, but it's like, but that could be really, really good. Because the challenge now, and I believe this is the thing with Messi. I don't know if you've heard this. The challenge now is to stay fit, and apparently Messi's got it in his clause. He can in a clause that basically he can sit out for the next couple of weeks, so he's not injured for the World Cup. Because if you get injured in the next couple of weeks and it's any kind of 2-week injury, you're missing.
Yeah, definitely. The Matthew Bush says, I'm sure I can hear Born on the Bayou in the background.
Boom, boom, boom.
Charlie Chaplin's gone with Brazil. Will win the World Cup. Although you did say Iran v Qatar in the final before. That would be difficult,
but
surely.
What we do know is, if anyone's watched the Tomorrow War, right, the film The Tomorrow War, that Brazil will be in the final. Because they come back from the future and Brazil are playing in the final. So we do know Brazil, and they will be playing against someone in a navy blue kit. And I don't know if anyone's playing in a navy blue kit. So, but I think we've got Astro back. Is he there? He's there.
Back.
Yeah.
He can hear you now.
He's bouncing off 3 Russian satellites.
He's doing it.
To yeah.
Make it work the best way you can.
Full 18.
Yeah.
Full 18.
Yeah. No, mate, listen, you got to love it when a plan comes together, just like Hannibal likes to say.
That's it.
And you know what, right? Speaking of a plan coming together, I really do feel like, Saturday, like I was not like sitting there made up that we got out of there with a point, but like, do you know how many gutless performances we had to sit through last year where we couldn't defend anything, and they battered us on Saturday and we took a point. The best thing Fulham does is score goals, and we stopped them cold-blooded at their own park and kept them from doing that.
Yeah.
And we took a point. So, obviously the paradigm shifts, to Leicester on the weekend, and we got to do our part. And I mean, listen, I keep telling myself this. DCL's not full. He's not fully back yet. He's just now getting back up to match fitness. And Baz has said this before, the longer you're out, for a striker, the harder it is to get back in. I'm going to choose patience and optimism and say that he's going to come good, and he's going to make us he's going to make all the patience we've shown him worthwhile. I really do believe that. But yeah, listen, you were talking about World Cup. Can I just make a confession?
Go on.
I could name you far more players in the England team than I can the U.S. team, and I don't care about England. You see what I mean? Like, and like I'm, if England beat the U.S., I'll be like, all right, word, I can live with that. But there's just nobody on the U.S. team that I don't want to thump. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, they all just need a good fresh one right across the face. Straight up Rick James to Charlie Murphy. What did Five Fingers say to the face? They all need a slap. I don't like any of them. Now, if they put on an Everton shirt, my opinion might change. But I don't know. The only thing, my metric for the World Cup is measured in Everton blue. And if the Great Wall is in the net for England, then listen, it's 3 lines on the shirt, baby. It's coming home. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the crack, though.
Let me ask you a question. What year did you get to Germany?
The first time or the second time?
Well, the first time.
Okay, so the first time I got there in 2002, and I left in 2005.
I
missed.
I missed the World Cup.
2006.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, like I've said before, it could be raining lady parts, and I'd step outside and get pelted with a dick. That's just the way it works. Okay.
Hang on. So when are you going to be in America for when the World Cup comes in 4 years, or?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. Survey says probably not. So, like, wherever the World Cup is, Nick ain't. Like, wherever Everton is, Nick ain't.
Oh, my God.
But that's about to change. I mean,
Yeah.
The big wheels keep on turning.
That's
you know
it.
what I mean? And Proud Mary's going to keep on burning, and I'm going to get to where I need to be.
That's
you
it.
know what I'm saying?
Whoever last laugh, whatever. Yeah, whatever that phrase is.
Whoever laughs loudest.
Yeah.
Listen, for all the World Cups I've missed, for all the friendlies I've missed in America, when I've got a season ticket to Everton Football Club in my right hand and I'm sitting in the Shatter Dome on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey, I'm going to tell you what, that's just where I need to be. I have the last laugh when I walk through the gates of the Shatter Dome, season tickets in hand. And by the way, I do call Goodison Park the Terror Dome, and there's no better time to break out the new name. It is the Merseyside Shatter Dome, baby. That's where we bring the competition in, and we shatter them dreams, and we snatch them points, boy. All them kaiju that come up gonna get fought on the Shatter Dome banks, brother. I'm telling you, it's gonna be the best. It's gonna be the best.
I don't know how. I don't know what to follow that.
No, I don't.
I don't know how you follow that. I
It's
really don't.
I'm just saying. Like, if y'all can come up with a better name, please do it, because I'll sing it. I will sing it from the rooftops, but it just feels right. You know what I'm saying?
We're not. None of us are here to argue with you. None of us are here to argue with you. So
you don't like any American player at the moment in that squad? You don't like Pulisic?
No, I want to slap him in the teeth every time I see him on the pitch. I don't know what it is. It's an uncontrollable urge to slap, and it's probably because he plays for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it changed, like, I am so not objective when it comes to football. I am so blinded by my affection and infatuation with Everton that I just hate everybody else.
Is right.
Hate's a strong word. It ain't hate.
No, I mean, we're Evertonians. That's what we do.
Disregard and dislike. You know what I mean?
What about Tyler Adams?
Who's that?
Is he
I mean, Baz, I wish I knew.
Is he the kid who plays for Leeds?
Like, when Everton's on, I'm glued to the telly. I am in a universe where only two things exist: the Blues and me in that moment. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, when Landon Donovan and Tim Howard and like that Clint Dempsey and like and that team, when that class kind of kind of faded, and then Tim Howard has basically become like a Diet Coke cop-ite since he got on the television. I ain't got a lot of love for him anymore at all.
No.
But like, I don't know. It's the U.S. team just kind of faded from prominence for me, and Everton kind of supplanted them in every way. Like, football to me begins and ends with Everton.
Okay.
So if Everton had a World Cup team, that's different. That's different.
I think you've cemented yourself as a proper. I mean, you've already cemented yourself as a proper Evertonian, but the fact that you're an Evertonian that hates your national team is very much on brand with most Evertonians.
Got some good.
That's very much on brand.
Got some good young players, the United States.
No, they have. But,
they really have.
Apparently, they do. And by the way, like, if you ask me whether I wanted to get kicked in the junk by a hobnail boot or listen to Alexi Lawless utter a single syllable, I'll have my junk getting beat with a hobnail boot, because I can't stand him.
Yeah,
I mean, he really riles me.
He is a strange fish.
Oh, he's terrible.
Yeah.
And then somebody had sent me a link of him talking about an Everton, or not an Everton player, but a young American player. I think it was Tim Weah. And they're like, "What do you think of this guy?" And I'm like, "Nothing. All I hear is Charlie Brown's teacher when Alexi Lawless talks. He could be giving out the winning Powerball numbers, 1.2 billion, and I won't be listening. It'll all just sound like exactly. That's all Alexi Lawless is.
Well,
and he's Charlie Brown's teacher.
Have a look out for Cade Cowell.
I will.
He's one. He's only been capped once by the United States, but plays for San.
What time?
Earthquakes.
What time are the games over there?
Good player.
Nick.
Good player.
When are they kicking off over there? What's
10,
kind of the time?
10, 1, 4, 7.
4, 7.
Oh, 10.
So
that's
obviously
5 a.m.
5
in the morning
a.m.
here.
But it depends what the US games are.
Well, that's Eastern. Yeah, that's Eastern time zone.
That's just all he's bothered about.
And it only gets better, I guess. But no, it doesn't. Actually, it doesn't. But yeah, no, I'm gonna watch. Obviously, I'll be glued to it because it is a spectacle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wonderful competition, and you get to see so many great performances, and you get to see talent showcased that you wouldn't see otherwise. It is an exciting thing, and it's funny. My wife was kind of asking me, did you want some World Cup gear for Christmas? And I'm like, not unless Everton's got a World Cup line. I know it's that same line, but it's the truth. I mean, I don't think I own a single U.S. national team article of clothing. You know what I mean? But yet, I could wear a different Everton kit for like a month and a half.
You've got an England top, if I remember rightly.
What's that?
You've got an England top, if I remember rightly.
I do. I got it I have 2 England tops that were given to me as gifts by family over in England. And I wore them during the Euros. So, because I wanted it to come home.
Yeah.
I don't know. Football, it's so weird. Football means more to the UK and to England, or football means more to England than it does to the US. It just does, bottom line, right? So for me, it's like if the US were to win, it would not mean as much because there are all these fair weather fans that come out of the woodwork when the World Cup happens, and they're insufferable.
England after, mate.
Yeah.
England after.
But at the same time, to me, I know my history. I know it's been a long time since '66, and I would love to see England, bring it home. It's coming home, and I've got so many friends that I interact with, you guys included, where I know where it's not your first line of interest, but you would absolutely love to see the World Cup come home to England. You know what I mean?
I'll be honest, I couldn't care less.
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't say love, but I wouldn't mind seeing it because it would be a big thing. It'd be an iconic thing.
No, I'm not against it. I just
let me ask you
just
something.
Couldn't care less.
Because Astro wouldn't wear a United States shirt, but he would wear an England kit. Yeah. I'm guessing you would wear a United States kit, but not an England kit, wouldn't you?
I've got a few American tops. I've got.
Mad, isn't it?
I've got a Donovan T-shirt that I bought in Vegas in 2012.
Nice.
I've actually got a USA 06 top with Freddie.
That was clean.
Freddie Adu on the back.
Freddie Adu.
No,
Championship manager legend.
But it's a deep cut. It was supposed to have Brian Ching on the back, right?
Okay.
Number 11, because he played for Houston Dynamo, and that was the team I supported then. And
you've changed the way franchises change in America.
No, it's just because that was a team I didn't really follow, but I was just but I like Brian Ching when he played for him. He was a really good striker, and because he got injured, I think, and Adu came into the squad, and I just swapped it over with the person I'd bought it off. I just said, and that was it. And have I got any more? I think I might have some a hoodie or something like that, or I've got a breast cancer T-shirt as well, which is I've had that for years as well. So a few little bits and bobs, but yeah, I would wear any country on earth because I've got a Sweden tracky top, and I've got Italy stuff, and I'd wear any other country on earth except England. I would never ever wear an England top.
Well, James Barris says the US men's national team was my road into watching Everton. I was one of those fair weather fans. It's how we're going to develop as a footballing nation and expand the popularity and get more Evertonians in the USA.
There you go.
I would agree to that, and I'm glad that he did. And listen, there are many roads that people take to become, chosen as an Evertonian, and I love that, and that's awesome. And I have to admit, I do have a bit of a bad attitude when it comes to, it's not like I'm an elitist or anything, but But there have been times where I went to a supporters group in the U.S. right when I came back, and they were talking to me like I had never watched an Everton match before, and they were telling me about Goodison Park and all this other stuff, and I'm like, nobody stopped to ask me, oh, have you ever been or anything else? And I didn't say a word, and they were talking about you guys.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh, there's this new fan channel, Baz and Ped. And I'm actually on WhatsApp with Ped in that very moment going, there are people name dropping you, telling me how awesome you are. And it's just like, but like, that's kind of the mentality. There's like a gatekeeper kind of a thing. And it's the same way with nerds, right? I'm a big nerd, and I struggle to sometimes get along with other nerds because of like a gatekeeping aesthetic. And it's kind of the same thing with footy. Like, I don't know. It's a very American problem to have. But I do wish that there was an American playing for Everton. I miss having that contact. I miss having that connection, and there's an interest there, right?
Yeah.
And it would be so great if we could find a player who fit the Everton spirit and personality and style of play, and basically did what Donovan did, but takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
That would just be superb in every way. But you know what? Right now, I just want to add some striking back up for DCL in the January window. Give us another good wide attacking option, and nobody else get injured. And I think that we are literally sitting on the launch pad, rockets fueled, ready to blast off. I think we're that close to really just – the margins are so fine. I think that we could haul off and just start handling people far more often than not. And I don't know. Like I said, I'm choosing to be optimistic. I really do think that I'm buying in it. Big team, little me mentality. If it's a focus on the unit, not the individual. And I think that if Everton can just carry on, that better days are closer to us than we think.
Good man.
Yeah.
There you
Let's
go.
leave it there.
Said it
Tremendous.
all. Said it all.
Tremendous.
Said it all.
Thanks for having me,
Nick,
guys.
Nick,
Thanks for having me.
good man. Speak to you soon,
Cheers,
brother.
mate. Take care.
See you in a bit.
Cheers,
pal.
guys.
Ta-da, mate.
Thanks,
Ta-da.
See ya.
There you go. The legend of Astro.
The legend of Astro. The Blue says, I'd like to see the likes of Pickford happy, but I genuinely laughed my head off when Bonucci screamed, "It's coming, Rome," down the camera as they won the Euros. Charlie Chaplin says, Freddie Adu, champ man, wonder kid, if anyone remembers. Yeah, brilliant on champ manager. Absolutely. Absolutely. Glenn Watson says, who do you prefer? Pamela Anderson in her prime, or Megan Fox dressed as Pamela Anderson in her prime? That's the question.
That's a question.
Ruben de Souza said Megan Fox all day. I'm gonna go with Ruben. I'll be honest.
I'm gonna go with.
You're going with
I'm with Pamela because quite simply, she's the OG.
She's the OG.
And someone is simply trying to copy her. So I'd rather have.
But a tremendous effect.
Yeah, good effect. She's done well.
Yeah.
She's done well in what she's trying to do. She's done well. Fair play to her. But for me, Pammy's the OG, and I'm going to stick with Pammy because.
Okay. Ruben also says, "Is this Mudryk or Kudus? What a dream! It'd be to secure both. Though, has there ever been a time to break the bank? It'd be now for them."
You'd be good.
Let's hope that it is one of them. I'm going to be very difficult to get either of them. Mudryk more, I feel, than Kudus. Ajax are out now, aren't they? The Champions League. So
they're open, aren't they? Yeah.
It's one
Told
of
you
them.
Rangers get the penalty, didn't they?
Yeah, the penalty nap. The penalty nap.
Game, I mean, not in the Champions League, but
no.
Every game they need to every game that they need to progress with it in the Europa League, they get a penalty.
Very much like someone else I know. Bainey says you'd need to start closing club call, but Astro's tough to follow. Even the missus likes listening to his videos after matches. He's a unique character, isn't he? Mm-hmm. He's an absolute unique character. Little T says Fox all the way. Charlie Chaplin says 100% Megan.
That's fair enough. I just remember Pammy in a peak. She was well. Put it this way, right? I had a poster on my ceiling.
Yeah. No, listen, Pam performed well. Pam performed.
You'd come home from the match, get in 6 o'clock. Baywatch was on, and there she is in a little swimsuit, jumping in to save people in the water. What else you want? Megan Fox. Yes. Did she go and help the other fella fight Decepticons and pretend she could fix cars? She did, and that's fair play. That is fit women's lib.
I can't trust her though for because that scene when she's getting on the fella with the very short skirt on and he's made up, and then the next minute the all metal son comes out and can't trust her after that.
Wasn't that someone else?
No. Megan Fox.
That was someone else.
No,
no, it was.
Oh, it was because she comes in the room.
It was.
Apologies, so I can't trust her. It
was the other girl who was trying to get on him. She was really a robot.
I know,
do
but
not throw.
She looked good at that stage, didn't she?
Don't bring your transforminology, yeah.
No.
Thinking you can...
I don't. It gave me trust issues with Megan.
Even Ned
had but you two, this is like your two thing.
I know, but you were
this is like, imagine like you two trying to have me off over football would never happen. So I went into rocky waters there, I understand that. But I was just thinking, the Decepticon...
Yeah, you would have still gone, wouldn't you?
But it looked at some was very sharp.
It was sharp.
So it would have hit.
He went round the back.
Yeah, it went round the back and it was it was difficult.
How did that gimp get so much lady fandom? He didn't play guitar at all. And you get none. And if you get any, you run away from me.
Mr. Anonymous.
I need to get the keys.
I'm not clueless, am I? Really? So, I'm not, am I? So
need to get the key for couch.
You're talking nonsense there, but put your real name then. Come on, put your real name. Stop talking nonsense.
That literally goes against the whole of his name.
I know, but it's easy to type some jag thing and then go, "Oh, you're clueless because you're saying things have gone against it." I mean, Baz reckons all of these refs. I mean, Sophie, what you've done there though is you're accusing me of saying something.
Whoa.
Every decision.
Are you sure you're reading that correctly?
Yeah. Baz reckons all of these.
No. Baz. Reckon all these ref decisions are the Premier League.
Right, apologies, Sophie. I've read it wrong.
Calm down.
It's Mr. No.
I know it's got bad apostrophe.
Mr. Anonymous.
He's got you wound up.
I think he's probably a red.
No, but he's got you wound up. Take a step back. Take a deep breath. Practice the yoga.
So I don't think it's I just think there's a cognitive bias, if you want to call it that, against us. But I don't think it's not. Every decision is because of that. Yeah. Do we get treated harshly? I think we do, personally. Is every decision based because of FFP? Nah, I wouldn't have that. But what I do think is it's easy. Yeah, I'll put it this way, right? It's easier to get an Everton decision wrong than it would be to get a more high profile club. Do you know what I mean? It's like Mitrovic. If Mitrovic does that against Liverpool, City, United, Arsenal, whatever, I think he walks.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, he does, though.
So against Everton, he doesn't walk. But a lot of people would say it was like the.
And at half time, the media talk about it for 15. At this discussion, all the time.
I've said it before, haven't I? I've said it before. The Van Dijk on Onana thing for me was the one where Van Dijk done him. Now I said at the time in the game, I just thought it was a mistimed tackle. I wasn't sat in my seat screaming at red. I just thought it was a mistimed tackle. When I seen it again, it was a poor challenge. But 2 weeks later, the same referee sends Emerson Royal off in the Arsenal-Tottenham derby for this foot landed in similar place, and yet you've got Dermot Gallagher on the Monday going, yeah, that's the correct decision. But 2 weeks earlier, he also tried to make this play about Van Dijk. His foot slid down, so it wasn't a red. It's that kind of thing where you just go, no, mate. And even the fella, Stephen Warnock, who was an ex-Liverpool player, and the fella in the studio were laughing in his face because of the two decisions. The Cody offside.
Called Smith a fella.
Do it?
You just called
No, the fella presenting it. The fella presenting it was laughing, right? So therefore, when you've got people in the studio laughing at an explanation, you do kind of go, and then you hear the same fella a couple of weeks later justifying it when it's almost the same thing. It's like, what's Saturday about? A strong yellow. How can you have a strong yellow?
Oh.
If you're having a strong yellow, simbin him for 10 minutes then and go, it's not quite a red, but it's a strong yellow. Go and sit off the pitch for 10 minutes.
I think football...
I just think it's a bit mad.
I'll tell you one thing, right?
But what I would say, before you finish, what I would say is when you look at a challenge back, sometimes they look worse than what they are in real time.
I think football has to go away and have a really serious look at what it's doing in terms of decision making, because football, whether we like it or not, is coming to a bit of a crossroads in terms of how it keeps people engaged. We all love it. A lot of people love it.
Yeah.
But it's coming to a situation where a lot of older fans or just fans in general are getting a little bit annoyed with what's going on in football. And if you want to take that next generation of football fans, the TikTok generation, the YouTube generation, and you want to get them away from watching it on their telly or playing FIFA, you're going to have to start doing little things and making the game a little bit more streamlined or making it a little bit fairer, whatever it is. And I start looking at the rules. And what I mean by this as well is, by the way, is I don't know if you saw the Villa game on Saturday against Newcastle. The keeper gets a bad bang on the head, and he stayed on the pitch, and for 10 minutes later, he all over the gaff. Now,
I thought that wasn't allowed to happen anymore.
Well, you can have a sub, and they did have a sub. Newcastle had 6 subs.
Yeah.
But why aren't we in a situation for a rule like that where we go, sub keeper can come on, and in 10 minutes' time,
if you're all
right and you're cleared, you can come on the pitch. And I think football needs to start having a little look at itself.
Got to protect them, haven't you?
It's not just that though. It's just it's
no,
stuff
but a bang
like that.
On the head, you got to protect.
That's what I mean. It's got to start. I think football has this tendency of going, this rule everyone's moaning about, so let's have a really good look at it, and then we'll go away. I think it needs to look at all the rules and go, what's working in our game, and also the time.
Aren't they supposed to do this? Aren't they supposed to do this in like the off season, and then they come up with new rules for the next season?
I think they have to have a good look at things, and I think another thing that's going to come in with this is the timekeeping as well. I'd start looking at the timekeeping, and I know a lot of people are very hesitant about this, but saying when there's been calls for make it a 60-minute game, lots of people go, no, not to skip, blah blah blah. But then you look at the average time the ball's in. There's things like that where people need to start going. See, the beauty about football is it does generally last 2 hours from beginning to end. But maybe we should start looking at it and going, this is a 60-minute game and we're getting 60 minutes. The game will always be an hour and a half. But like American football, like other sports, there's things like that where we have to start getting time.
So what, you'd look and go ball in play, like
put it this way, Baz, right?
58 minutes, or you'd go, there's another 2 minutes here.
What's worse, right? What's worse? Saying the game lasts for 60 minutes, now that's 60 minutes on the pitch, or saying the 7 minutes extra being played and Liverpool score in the 9th minute. What's worse?
No, I'm just saying. Is that so? Would the game be played for night as it is?
But
the ball has to be in play for a minimum of 60 minutes.
And the clock would tell you exactly how long it would be. Now, okay, that might mess around with like schedules and all the rest of it, but look at NFL can go on for days if it wants to, but the person who pays the money, which is us, is getting bang for our buck. And we know, and listen, I'm not saying I want this, I'm just putting a suggestion in. I think this is what I'm saying. I think there has to be, as we go forward, they're going to have to seriously look at what's going on, because if the game keeps going like it is and they keep patting themselves on the back, people are just going to go,
yeah.
So many other things to do in the
world.
But
people would thingy, wouldn't they? I think people would switch off, I think. Yeah. You know, not every... We all love footy, but I think people would switch off. Mr. Anonymous said, Paul, says, turn it like rugby, play on and let the physio run on the pitch. They should definitely... Yeah, that's a good one of like take him off for 10 minutes. For a head one, that's terrible. I think I think that's
I'm not being funny, right? But 10 minutes later, I know this. 10 minutes later, he could have dropped dead.
No,
that's how bad. That's how.
Well, it was the whole thing was like that, though, wasn't it?
That's how head injuries work. The kid who played for Wolves, Jesus Christ, nearly died.
No. The Blues says, I think refs are just poor. I agree. Paul also says, Baz, that's true, but because we are small, not a big club anymore.
Someone just said, come on, boxers knock the hell out of each other for 12 rounds, and knee in the head at 2 miles an hour is nothing. No, they don't though, do they? Because number one, they have boxing gloves on, right? For a start. Number two, they're not always getting hit in the head, right? And also, watch football players when they hit each other. It's normally at speed because people come together. So what are we going to do? We're just going to go, oh, Sand, you got a whack on your head. That's the most pathetic thing I've ever heard. American footballers and now rugby players and now footballers are dying because of the ball or because they've been hit. You know, American footballers are dying in great, a lot of people in American football are dying now because of what happened in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. Rugby players are starting to now get diseases, brain diseases, and footballers are starting to get it who headed the ball and who got bangs on the head. Are starting to get Parkinson's and all the other diseases, Alzheimer's and all of it. Yeah. We've got a duty of care here to look after the footballers.
Well, you've just got to be careful, haven't we?
And that's at any level.
And the other thing, the other thing as well is that, and this might sound mad, and it might sound like I'm splitting hairs, but boxers know what they're going in the ring for. They're going in the ring to stop getting hit in the head, aren't they? Their defence is there. Where football is a different thing, and you can get a bang on your head, and you haven't got a clue what's happening. It's dangerous, isn't it? If you then go and head the ball after you've had a bang on the head, you do have to be careful. They are different sports, and there is different requirements. So I don't think you can personally. I don't think you can equate it to be the same thing.
But the other side of that is you get, if you're a boxer, you get assessed every 3 minutes as well, or every 5. Every 3 minutes after every round, the doctor will come over and go, "Are you all right? You look a bit shaky." Blah blah blah. That happens every 3. In football, you could have a bang on the head and you've gone, "Yeah, I'm all right," and you're all over there. And the next minute, someone bangs into you, or you could just drop dead. These things need to be changed in the game. They really do. Otherwise, something bad's going to happen.
James says football isn't a combat sport either. Boxing is. The Blues says spot on. This hard man culture needs to die out, even when people moan players not carrying on when they're kicked. Charlie says I do get it, but they're all fit sportsmen. I think it's a bit. I think they do after.
Bang on the head is not like.
And James also says boxers have had their lives cut short from a horrible brain injury. Yeah, no, it is a thingy one, but I think you get kneed in the head or bangs in the head, you should come off because you naturally want to stay on because you want to play. You want to play the game, don't you? You know what I mean? You want to carry on. You don't want to have your game cut short. But there is, also, we have got to be careful.
Also, let me put, if you want to talk boxing, if you're boxing, there's only 2 of you, and there's a ref in the middle as well. If he sees a boxer wobbling, or there's anything going on, he's got a duty to stop it. If you're a footballer, you're the goalie, say, and you've got a head injury, and the ball's at the other end of the pitch, and people are not concentrating on what you're doing, or you're not taking part in the game for a long time, how does anybody know? 10 minutes later, you might be back in the game, come for a catch, and suddenly, wow, the lights go out. I know.
Listen, just got to be careful, haven't we? Just got to be careful, and that's the way it is, isn't it? I get it for things like people rolling around on the floor and feigning it. I get all that. Totally understand all that. The thing with a head injury, for me personally, it's totally different. We used to look at it as, I remember Terry Butcher with a bloody red shirt because his head's pouring with blood. Oh, he's brave, and John Terry with the head strap. Yeah, luckily those fellas were okay. And, appear to still be okay years later. We'll see, but we've just got to be really careful, I think, with things like that. I don't know where this come from, this conversation, but there you go. It's turned very, very thingy. Make sure you give a thumbs up for the stream. I really appreciate it. Helps the channel. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. We are going to go now because we've done an hour and a half. Well, thanks for everyone who called in. We'll obviously be back next week. We do lives
every single day over on Toffee TV Premier. So, and we're going to be doing loads of watch-alongs over there as well. We're going to do a couple of watch-alongs on YouTube as well from the World Cup.
So get subbed and click the notification bell.
If you want videos every single day, live videos, come join us on Toffee TV Premier, even if it's just for 1 month, just to see what we're all about over there. Podcasts as well. Get all the shows put out in podcast form as well. So if you miss any of the shows, you can catch them there.
S.A.R. Parker, just before we finish, says, my granddad was Bury FC's longest serving player, was a defender and a coach for many years at the club. At the end of his life, he couldn't even remember me. We have to take head injuries seriously.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. That is us done. Thanks everyone for joining us. Take it easy. Have a great night. See you later. Bye.